here. Why does he keep coming?
We might have. I'm suddenly hearing an echo on my side.
Uh-oh. We're live, just in case you're wondering.
I am suddenly hearing an echo
You
on my
are on the
side.
clock.
Let me see.
Oh, hi, everybody. You figure out your echo. I will say hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fantasy Football Week 14 with yours truly, Natalie and Tara, the goat hoarders, the women who hoard goats, but don't hoard the right goats, only the wrong goats.
They're not goats. Turns out they were in disguise.
They're boats. They're not good. It's not been going well. Oh, it's been a rough season, and true season fashion, things didn't go as hoped this last
as hoped. They didn't go as hoped.
If you were just now joining us because you saw a thumbnail with two pretty girls talking about fantasy football, we don't actually know what we're doing. No, Natalie does, I don't. We do a show called Natalie and Tara Try Stuff, where we try stuff for the first time, and instead of making an episode about fantasy football, we decided to make a live stream about fantasy football because it was just, there's just too much information to get out there. And now I really understand how hard this would have been to edit into anything worthwhile. But anyways, that's what's going on. So, let's talk about that.
I don't want to.
I know. No, we don't. We don't want to talk about that.
Jason should mind his manners because I'm not in the mood. I am not in the mood. My stepdad shit talked me last night.
What? That's rude.
Was that last night? The night before? Monday night. Yeah.
Last night,
no,
yeah.
No, it was Sunday night.
Sunday night, okay.
It was Sunday night. I wasn't watching whatever game was on. And he texted me, like, no, my stepdad and I do not text often. And he texted me out of nowhere, that didn't hurt. And I was like, what? So I immediately go and like look to see, oh shoot, did something happen good for us? Like, because the only shit talking that I do is self-deprecating.
Okay.
Like, I don't ever shit talk like sports in a, well, your team sucks. You know, right. Like, I mean, and unless it's like the most playful thing ever. But in this situation, he texted and said, that didn't hurt. And I was like, oh no. I was like, did one of our players do something huge? Because that's something I would do. Like, right. My player's doing something massive. And I go, oh my God, you know, I mean, your player's doing something massive. I'm like, oh, that's not painful. Thanks a lot. You know, like that's how I would shit talk. No. Right. He's got a defensive fumble recovery for a touchdown and is like now killing us. And I was like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, when we realized we didn't have a chance, I was like, that's it. I'm clocking out for the day.
Yeah.
Like, no more playing.
No more.
Jason C. Brown is over here in the chat. Let's talk about my incredible run to the playoffs. Jason, get your own live stream.
Yeah. Go find people who like you, Jason. No one here does. They all
I feel a lot of similarities with how Jason plays Codenames to how he plays fantasy football.
Yeah, right? I think that we're not understanding that I'm serious. I don't think you understand that this will end friendships.
Yeah, they never. Justin's texting me this morning, and he's like trying to get me to make a trade today, or to not make a trade, but to do an ad drop. I'm like, Justin, I'm not doing that without Natalie. He's like, you're part of the team. I was like, I get that, but don't you understand? I don't want to die today. Why don't any of you take Natalie seriously? Because am I the only one who's scared of her? Because it's very clear how close to death I come at times.
I'd imagine you and I have the most turnovers of any team in the leagues. I don't know what that means. Maybe I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it's well, actually, no, you could have done that this morning and I wouldn't have cared. You could have done the ad drop. Like I mean, one of my notes is, but I really can't care anymore. I don't have it in me. Not today.
That's the thing is, like, I knew you were kind of on the fence, but I was like, it could go either way. You'd be like, what? Well, and the thing is, the only thing that made me go, fuck it, I'm just going to do it, is because it was Duke Johnson, and we were already talking about dropping Duke Johnson. So here's what happened. This morning, we dropped Duke Johnson, and we picked up Cam Akers, which I did all by myself. Not all by myself. Justin told me to do it, but I did the actual, like, pressing the button, and then I went and I went and looked him up and compared him and Duke Johnson just to make sure. I was like, well, we don't want him anyway, so I added Cam, and I was very excited to learn that he's a Ram. So that's 2 people I know that are on the Rams, so that can officially be my
Tara's gone all in on being a Rams fan in the last, like, I think, and actually I realized what it was. It's in editing bulbs. You went is what happened. Yeah. Editing Christmas bulbs, you decided you were all in on.
Yeah. Like, well, I'm already on this, like, yes, I live in LA and like I've been here for 14 years, and when I first moved to LA, I was like, I'm dedicating to living here. I'm not going home like people would do. I'm gonna get involved in the sports teams, blah blah blah. And then I got distracted, and then I had a whole thing with a boy, which made it more challenging. But now I'm kind of back to that place of like, yeah, what are my teams? Like, let's be, rah rah LA. So Rams.
Yeah, but she said she was a Rams fan, and I said, I go, that's not a real thing yet. Like, because she's waffled so many times. And I had not seen the edit of bulbs yet. So I didn't know that you had gotten all in on your Rams fandom.
Yeah. I almost bought like a little holder for my headphones, my little pods that's Rams. Yeah. It's been slowly developing. And now I know 2 players, so I feel it feels more legit. I can barely keep the names of our players in my head half the time. So
yeah,
I've been way too busy with that.
Justin, stop talking about football. I know this is supposed to be. I was just about to go back to talk about factual fantasy football, and Justin's in here. The big question is me. This is Justin today. He just keeps miming.
Oh. You started it early. I got that text at like 9 a.m. I'm like, oh,
me. No, you don't know. No, it started earlier than that. Justin wakes up this morning as I'm coming upstairs to take a shower, and Justin comes out of the bedroom and says, like, the first thing he says to me this morning was, you should pick up Cam Akers as soon as possible. I said, well, I'm going to take this. No, as fast as possible. I go, I'm going to take the shower, not as fast as possible. And I closed the door in his face. And he's been maying me ever since.
That's why he started texting me. Well, because he didn't want to go up against Cam. And also he didn't want Jason to get Cam. So, I mean, that's all fair. And that, you know what? On the stance of making sure that Jason doesn't get anything shiny, I will do that. That is
I would call that collusion, and we need to take it up with the commissioner.
Ooh.
Okay, so what you guys are all really here for is the fantasy week 4 recap. This is what you've all been waiting for. Here's the notes. We picked up a kicker. We picked up a defense. Both of them were bad ideas. I never want to play again. We ended in 7th place out of 8. The good, Chubb had 22 points. The bad, everything else. If we listen though, this is real football analysis right here. Oh, I said analysis.
So legit.
If we would have started Lamar and Drake, we would have won.
Fuck Ducks. Really?
Yeah, it's Justin's fault.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's the kicker thing all over again.
It's the kicker thing all over again.
Wasn't our
yeah, no. I was just saying it through gritted teeth because I wasn't happy about it.
Okay. I looked down and I didn't get the full effect of it.
Didn't get the whole thing. We started Davis again. And so interestingly enough, the my stepdad's team, the Brown Dogs, and our team are like the opposites. We siphon points off of each other. So we have DK Metcalf. He had Lockett. Earlier in the year, he beat us because Lockett had this monster game when we needed DK Metcalf to just have 5 more points than Lockett, and we would have won that game. This week, DK did better than Lockett, which is, the normal week. It was an odd week when he beat us with Lockett. But also, we had it's not Chris. Doing this again. I can't remember what Davis's first name is. Davis, but he has Brown both on Tennessee, and Brown siphoned the points. Brown got 17 points to our 3 from Davis. So those are siphoning points. Yeah. Now, what's interesting though, we also have, he has Hunt and we have Chubb, which are both running backs for Cleveland, and both of them got 22 points, which you just do not see. You do not see 2 running backs on the same team getting 22 fantasy points. That was pretty interesting. And that's all of the notes I have because I hate this game. I never want to play again.
The only thing I want to say about this last week is when we were picking out our defenses and stuff, like, and I was doing the thing, and I looked at Dallas, and I actually, like, not holding against any choice that we made because we made them together, but I was keeping up just because that was something I did by myself. Like, I looked at that team and looked at the weather and looked at all the, like, that they were up against the Bengals, who suck, who I know suck.
Yes.
And that I was like, I would pick, like, you know what, I lean towards this toward Dallas because I have a good feeling about it. So that would be a choice that I would have made. Like, I feel like if we do this again and say it's not for the show and it's just me joining in with your fantasy football, I feel a little better about playing by myself in that.
Oh, you definitely have
made an independent thought that wasn't just Justin telling me something.
No, you definitely, I mean, the harder part would be, drafting.
Yes.
That's the big, like, you can kind of go through the season picking up the hot player and trading, doing trades and like, but like if you don't draft a good team to begin with, which is, not, I mean, we didn't not draft it. We didn't have a terrible draft. We just had mediocre draft, and then all of our good players were injured all year. You couldn't have predicted the injuries, and also you couldn't predict that Lamar wasn't gonna be Lamar until this week when he was on our bench.
Thanks, Jason. Now I like you again. Tara's night and day from the start of this season.
Oh yeah.
I was chit-chatting with a friend of mine yesterday on text. We were talking. Like, he was like, "Oh, I'm watching football." I was like, "Oh, who's your team? If you say Cincinnati or Minnesota, I'm really sad for you." Like, I actually had like a jab to throw in there that I knew mildly something about the sport. Pretty proud of what I learned.
I could tell you a team was not good.
That's as far as I got this year. Next year, we'll build on my knowledge. It's fun. I've been enjoying. And I would say, like, we're not quite done yet. Maybe by the time we get through playoffs, I'll change my mind. But I have had a ton of fun, and I would do it again.
I hate everything.
I've had fun, even though it sucks. I've had fun. I guess I've had fun learning about football, which no one.
See, but you had falling back on that you knew nothing about football.
That's
like,
true.
So you got to go, yeah, but of course I didn't win. Like,
right,
whereas
true.
I am just miserable about this. This is not.
You had a couple years off from football because
that's not a good enough. It's not a good enough excuse.
I think that's a great excuse.
No.
Like, you didn't know what was currently going on with anything, and then throw COVID in there. Like, no one had the preseason stuff.
None of that had much to do with the injuries we had this year. Like, we just really did. We had a tough time. And then by the end, everyone had been injured so often that they were on and off of there was like there's a question mark next to their name every week.
Right.
And it's like, well, now which one of these guys is going to actually perform, and which one of them is going to still be like, couldn't figure it out. I never figured it out.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you, Ed.
Constantly like trying to keep up with her. Oh, thank you, Ed.
So we do have playoffs. So we got 2 more weeks. We didn't make the playoffs actually, but our league does do a best of the worst as well. So we this week are playing Monkey Trouble, who's in number 6 to our number 7, and then from there we are either going to be playing for the best of the worst or the worst of the worst, depending on what happens this week.
Right. So the epic film movie ending that we all need to be rooting for is that we are the best of the worst. Mm-hmm. Deborah wins the whole thing. Jason stays very squarely.
Oh, Deborah can't win the whole thing.
Was it not Deborah that we were? No. She didn't make it because Jason.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, no. We're playing Deborah next week.
Okay. The only end of this movie is that Jason loses every game from here on out.
Well, no, I want to end in bottom last.
Okay.
So, Tara, in real football, if you end the worst record, you get the first round draft pick.
Oh. Okay.
That doesn't happen for us.
Wait, so I'm putting the timeline of this movie way too short. Rudy took years. So actually what needs to happen plot wise is that we need to bomb out this year and just be terrible. And then next year rise like the mighty duck phoenix that we are.
The mighty duck phoenix. We'll be a duck phoenix.
That is our new team name, Duck Phoenix.
The Duck Phoenixes.
Fly into amazingness and win it all next year. Like, yes.
Yes, that would work out as well. Yeah, so
it doesn't make me a duck phoenix, please.
Someone draw me a duck phoenix.
It's
like a platypus with like.
Yes, I would be so happy about that. Yes. Okay. Focus.
So that's not how. I mean, we don't have like a first round draft pick for that. Like it works out in the. There were rumors a couple of years ago, and it didn't work out for the team that did it. But the Colts sucked for luck, is what they called it. They threw the rest of their season so they could get the number 1 draft pick to get a quarterback, and then luck just ended up not being worth doing that.
But Murphy, you do not do that. You don't.
But we could.
I don't know about like if it happens, it happens. But like. I mean, it's gonna happen at the rate we're going. Like that's the plot line we're on. That's
no. Yeah, no. I'll tell you what our timeline actually is that we now outscore everyone the next 2 weeks.
Oh, right. We do really well because
it doesn't freaking matter.
Now it doesn't matter. So yeah, that is actually more accurately what's gonna happen.
Yeah, so that is not how it works in ours. In ours, what happens is the losing team gets first pick at draft pick. So we draw a draft order out of a hat, but the lowest team gets the first reach in. Right. But it does work that the lowest team does get first pick in the playoffs, the playoffs. So we do we're going to participate in it. There is a NFL playoff game that we play where we draft a team that's out of the entire league that's left playing in the playoffs. And then it's whoever, and you can't do any changes, and it's whoever has the most points through the Super Bowl. So, the way it worked. Ed, thank you.
What just happened?
Ed just gave us some more drinks for happy hour.
Ed, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Ed, yes, we did get your Christmas card, and I'm sending you one back. By the way.
By the way.
But
yeah, so what ends up happening is of all the teams that are making the playoffs in the NFL, you draft players from all those teams, and so like week 1, there's teams that are not going to make it past week 1.
Right.
But if you want that quarterback, because that quarterback always gets like 40 points. Let's just say that, there was one. You'd go like, if the Browns made the playoffs, I have no idea what the rankings are right now. If the Browns are going to make the playoffs or whatever. If the Browns make the playoffs and Chubb is one of the running backs available, and you don't think they're going to make it past week 1, just say that was true. Do you still grab Chubb and get those possible 22 points? Or do you grab someone who you think is going to make it all the way? Or do you grab a Saints running back, that may not get as many points a week, but by the end of it will equal 22. So, it's this whole mind game that will be so much more interesting. Okay. I think, and this one is not as infuriating for me. I've actually, Justin and I never, very, very, very rarely ever do well in this one. But it's because, we end up going, the Ravens are doing it. The Ravens are going all in this year. The Ravens are going to the Super Bowl. And then the Ravens get out in week 3 and you're like, well, now I have no more players.
Oh, thank you, Ben. Half a drink on me.
It's pretty interesting.
That's one drink at Paul's.
Total different strategy, yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about I'm always excited about Super Bowl because that's usually when I go home and I go to the big Super Bowl party and eat all the snacks I can handle. But now I'm kind of excited because I genuinely am interested to find out who wins this year, who gets in the playoffs. This is the first year.
So Tara, your next 2 weeks have got next 3 weeks. You just all you have to do is be paying attention to who are the really good players, not just on our team. Who are the really good players on the really good teams that you want for the playoffs?
Got it.
For the other playoffs.
Roger that. My computer is like wanting to die on me.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I just moved into my office, everybody, so I'm still like setting stuff up and forgot. Hey, some things need power. Anyhoozle, but I think I'll make it. I think I'll make it because we're right there. Okay, so we got 2 more weeks of recaps coming up. So we'll be back here through the holiday season to recap you on what's been going on, and then we will be doing playoffs. We won't be streaming as consistently for the playoffs because
this tree is as sad as I am.
Oh, broccoli tree. How tasty are your branches? But we're not going to be doing quite as many live streams for the playoffs because there's just not as much to talk about. Anywho, so join us again next week for the exciting recap of how irritated we are. Jason C. Brown, you were uninvited. I'll never stop sending you that meme. No, I love you to pieces. All right. If you are a regular, sure. We'll see you guys on Thursday as usual. And
wait. Let me show my goat.
Go.
I'm a goat.
Oh my God, your eye hits the weirdest place when you turn your head to the side, like this. Like you look all like there. It goes. All right, guys. Wish Jason luck. He's up against the Lemurs next week, and they're a tough team.
I want to be able to stroke this goatee beard, but I can't. Okay, we need to go.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.